Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful January 23rd, 2024. This Tuesday's rant with yours truly, Crusty Canuck. Topics will be the EMA deemed unconstitutional by the federal court. Tax on a tax. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. GST on your carbon tax. Plus that and clap. And of course, pay raises coming to our MPs and our fine people in Ottawa, effective 1st of April. All that and more come at the Tuesday rant. Please stick around. Listener discretion and viewer discretion is advised because I like to swear and smoke cigarettes. I'm going to use my old intro. See you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You're back on this beautiful Tuesday, the 23rd of January. I am your host, Crusty Canuck. Hope you've all had a great weekend. I know mine was pretty busy. Needless to say, all is well here in the great frozen Western tundra. I'm your host, Crusty. Good to see you all. I want to say thank you out there to everybody who has subscribed in the past couple of weeks. I'm seeing my subscriptions going up, especially on the Tube and Rumble. So thank you very much, you wonderful people. You're all awesome. Round of applause for you all there too. Thank you for the feedback I have been receiving in my last Tuesday rant. But as the title card says, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of stuff afoot. That's right. EMA was deemed unconstitutional by the federal court. Now, if people who haven't paid attention in the past couple of years, the federal government, and my American listeners and other worldly listeners out there, our federal government put together the Emergency Measures Act because of the convoy that happened in February of 2022. And they deemed it was necessary because it had to be, it were protecting the country, they were protecting the economy, and protecting people's lives. When you and I know out there, ladies and gentlemen, that the EMA, the Emergency Measures Act, was just thrown at people for the sake of the Liberal government trying to save face, because they're the ones that mandated a lot of this ridiculous crap over the jibby jab, over the pandem, and how people always had to get the ArriveCan app and all that good stuff just to be monitored and checked, all in the name of safety, right? And now a federal court in Ontario basically deemed it as unconstitutional. And it was, because it violated people's charter rights, freedom of assembly, freedom of association, and freedom of medical autonomy. Basically, they can decide what to do what they want with your bodies. That's just the way it is here in Canada. Liberty of person. Okay? Maybe that too. Oh, just before I forget, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe and share this content all of your social media platforms. A special thank you out there to my friends in North Perspective, Cypher and Fox, for making great videos. Mr. Radioreaction there too. He's got a great channel on YouTube. I'll leave links in the descriptions for you to check it out, his work. And check out Cypher and Fox's work too. They've come a long way. So give them all a round of applause. North Perspective, Radioreaction, you guys are awesome. Clyde Do Something, very well. Vesper, some of the contact you've given me on Twitter, well done, sir. Marty up north, well done, sir. And everybody else who has given me kind words this past couple of weeks, fucking A, I have to say. Anyway, carrying on with this episode, the Tuesday Rant, episode 257. Oh, excuse me. I just had dinner, so pardon me if I'm a little gassy here. Yes, the Emergency Measures Act was deemed unconstitutional by the federal court. And I'll read an article here along with you from CTV, basically stating what it was there too. There's something here from I'm not going to play the video. I'm just not really into it right now. I don't want to play any more CTV videos. They're just full of it. But basically, the federal court rules the Emergencies Act invocation was not justified. All right. And I'll just cue this up here for you, ladies and gentlemen, so you can read it at your leisure too. I'll leave a link in the description for you, and you can decide what you want to do. Keep it simple, right? So anyway, here we are. So federal court rules Emergencies Act invocation not justified. So I'll leave this link and you can play the video in your own leisure. The federal government says it plans to appeal a ruling by the federal court stating that its Use of Emergencies Act was shut down. The so-called Freedom Convoy protests in Ottawa 2 years ago was not justified. See, that's what gets me with mainstream media. They say the so-called. Well, what do you want to call it? It was a protest. It was a good protest. It was diverse, had all walks of life, had lesbians, gays, straights, had blacks, had First Nations, had whites, had Asians, had Muslims, had all mix of people. What do you mean the so-called Freedom Convoy? Right? Representatives of both the Canadian Constitution Foundation and the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, the two groups who brought the case to the federal court, posted about the ruling on X, formerly known as Twitter. The protest gridlocked downtown Ottawa for 3 weeks and blockaded some key Canada-U.S. border crossings in early 2022 in opposition to the COVID-19 vaccine mandates. Well, yes, right? And there's some more here. On February 14, 2022, the federal government invoked the Emergency Measures Act for the first time in its history, arguing at the time the national security risks were stemming from the protests justified its use. No, the Liberals wanted to save face. That's what they wanted to do, right? The move allowed the federal government to enact a wide-sweeping but temporary powers to help officials crack down on protesters, access to funds, grant the RCMP jurisdiction to enforce local laws, designate critical infrastructure and services, and impose fines and imprisonment on participants who refuse to leave the protest zone. Yeah, okay. So, quote unquote, I have concluded that the decision to issue the proclamation does not bear the hallmarks of reasonableness, justification, transparency, and intelligibility, and was not justified in relation to the relevant factual and legal constraints that were required to be taken into consideration, stated the federal court justice Richard Mosley. Thank you, Mr. Federal Court Justice Richard Mosley. Thank you. Round of applause for you, sir, for bringing common sense back to our justice system, right? Mosley added that there can only be one reasonable interpretation of the Emergencies Act and the CEASES Act, that he believes the legal constraints on the discretion of the GIC to declare a public order emergency were not satisfied. What I understand, the only time you implement the Emergency Measures Act, ladies and gentlemen, is that if we're being invaded on coast to coast to coast, if there's an airborne pandemic, meaning that there's some kind of virus that's killing people within hours and not within weeks, or there's some natural disaster where hundreds of thousands of people are being risked, meaning there's going to be a potential of a mass destruction of some sort. Okay, so Mosley also stated that factoring the definition of a national emergency under the Act, there was no national emergency to justify its use, and that the decision to do so was therefore unreasonable and beyond the powers of the law. Interesting, eh? So they jumped the gun. What do you know? Ooh, I think I was saying that 2 years ago when it happened. This case was not about the constitutionality of the Emergencies Act, but rather how it was applied in this instance, Mosley added. Now, of course, the federal government wants to appeal it because they think they're right. They think they're always right. They can't own their bullshit. It's just like the girl that let you down and won't own anything. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. But here, I'll leave this link in the description for you, ladies and gentlemen, where you can decide on what is right and what is wrong, especially with the federal government as we see it. There's a lot of bullshit in this. So it's good news. It's good news because the federal court basically told the government that you guys were wrong. You guys fucked up, period. And you better own it. So I'm sure they're going to have tons of lawyers to spend more taxpayer dollars on getting this done and making sure that they're right and we're wrong because we're the peasants and they know it all. Yeah, right. And I guess our national debt has nothing to do with that, eh? Yeah, of course.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, for the 23rd January, 2024, the Tuesday Rant with yours truly, Crusty Canuck, episode 257. Yes, the Emergency Measures Act was deemed unconstitutional by a federal court. Tax on tax, meaning GST on carbon tax. And, of course, some lovely pay raises coming to the MP's way, effective 1st of April. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, and thank you once again out there. If you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content on all of your social media platforms. Help us Canucks get our algorithm out there, too, before the government screws it up for everybody, right? Don't want that going on, right? Enough of that gravy train, eh? Can't have that crap. Anyway, like I said, there's a tax on tax coming, and this comes from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. This is basically from, I had the video queued up here. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, I'm going to cue a video up here from Franco Tetrazzino. He's one of the directors of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, and he did a great job on getting the information out in regards to what they want to do in regards to the carbon tax, ladies and gentlemen. It just gets really ridiculous on just some of the things they talk about. Yeah, he's the federal director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. So I'll just cue this up here for you, ladies and gentlemen. He's just a switched on guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't really show any bias towards liberals or conservatives. He just speaks common sense. I'll cue that up a video in a later here. But what I'll read for you right now is the MP pay increases here, and I'll cue this up. I had my apologies. I had the video here. I had everything ready to go, and I don't know where that went to. I should pay attention to more detail. Anyhow, this is basically from the newsroom, the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. I'll leave a link in the description for you to follow too. But the MPs pay to increase between $8,000 and $16,000 for this year. Wow, must be nice, eh? Canadian Taxpayer Federation estimates members of Parliament will take a 4.2% pay raise on April 1st. Right? The federal government is more than $1 trillion in debt. Taxpayers are struggling to afford basic necessities, and MPs don't deserve raises. So this is the perfect time to stop rubber stamping the pay raise politicians give themselves every year, said Franco Tetrazzino, CTF federal director. MPs stopped pay raises in the past, and they should stop this year's pay raise. A backbench MP salary is currently $194,600. A minister, that means a minister of whatever, collects $287,400, while the prime minister takes home $389,200 annual salary. Right, so $389,000 that the PM takes. Okay. MPs give themselves pay raises each year, April 1st, based on the average annual increase of union contracts with corporations that have more than 500 employees. That's just Feldergarb. I don't buy that crap at all. They shouldn't be giving themselves raises every goddamn year, regardless of what's going on. Right. While final pay numbers have not been released, contract data published by the Government of Canada shows the average annual increase in the private sector was 4.2% in 2023. Using this data, the CTF estimates this year's pay raise will amount to an extra $8,100 for backbench MPs, $11,900 for ministers, and $16,200 for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Well, isn't that nice, eh? That's just great. Oh my God, look what we're going to do with all that money. Give back the taxpayer. That's an idea. After this year's pay raise, backbench MPs will receive, this is just guys who are elected and then just sit in Parliament and just, clap and nod and go, you know what I mean? They will receive $202,700 annual salary, according to the CTF estimates. A minister will collect $299,300, while Trudeau would take home a whopping $405,400. All right. Like, oh my God. The federal government stopped automatic MP hikes from 2010 to 2013 in response to the 2008 and 2009 recession. Okay. That's understandable. There's recession. But then what's going on now, ladies and gentlemen? What's going on now? Honestly, what is going on right now? Right? You can look at the diagram here. Okay. And I'll show this to you here. Okay. I will show this to you. You have all my beautiful friends there. Okay, so this is what the MP was making pre-pandemic, $178,000. So we'll say $179, just to round it off here. This is the current salary they receive. So they've gone up, a good few thousand since 2020. Okay, now come this April 1st, it goes up to $202,000, $202,700. Okay, we'll round up, we'll say 203 for shits and giggles, okay? Oh, my God. Right? So this is the total increase. So over the past 4 years, Okay. The past 4 years, roughly $24,000 increase. Now, do you know anybody in your life that gets a raise that high in 4 years? Right now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, these are just the MP backbenchers. This is the job that I was looking for back in 2021 when I ran against our conservative and our liberal and our NDP and our green commie there in this riding. Okay. Now, an actual minister, and including shadow ministers too, okay, they were making 264 prior to the pandemic. Now they went up to 287, the current, and now they're going to go up to 299, 300. Wow, eh? What a jump that is, right? So their jump would be 34,900. So we'll say $35,000. Could you throw in some slap and tickles and perks there too, right? And of course, the prime minister, well, we don't give a shit about the prime minister. He's basically going up another $48,000 this year. Now, there is somebody I know personally who barely makes $45,000 fucking dollars a year. And these ass hats and these ass clowns, oh, well, we'll just take some more money, right? It explains everything to you. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave this link in the description for you. You decide amongst yourselves what is right, what is wrong. Okay. But it's it's just fucking sad. Pardon my swearing. Okay. But we have seen this. We have seen this before. We have seen this. And this is not working for us. This is not working for you. It's not working for me. It's not working for my wife or her friends or my friends, my family. Okay. My father gets his CPP. Okay. You know how much tax they take off of that? About $650 worth of tax that he paid into. So from the time he was 15 years old, paying his way till now, okay, they still take $600 a month off of him. And for what? Right? When I look at my pension, they take an extra $100 off for income tax. Oh, because we have to pay our fair share. So it's going to line those pockets of those guys in Ottawa. And I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're NDP or Les Blocs Québécois or independent or liberal. There's nothing fucking liberal about you. There's nothing honest about you all there taking this pay. And for what? Because you demand it? You're entitled to it? Really? You're entitled to these wonderful things? God, I'd be happy if I was making $100,000 a year, let alone 202,000 more. You know, like I would be happy just to get that. But no. You got to go, got to sit there and represent your constituents in your ridings, right? The honorable thing to do, okay, if there's any MPs watching this right now, is don't take the hike. And before you start, don't tell me, oh, we give to charity. Fuck your charities. The charity is your constituents. Okay? The charity should be your constituents. You're supposed to represent them. Okay? You're supposed to represent your ridings. And I don't care if you got 20,000 people in your riding or 80,000 people or 200,000 people. Take the pay cut. Do the honorable thing. Don't do it. Don't accept it. Okay? How about you help out some of the taxpayers in your riding by easing their tax bill a bit? There's a few lads I know that are being dinged as we speak, saying they owe an extra $80,000. Where do these figures come from? And yet you're getting a pay raise. So maybe that's why they owe $80,000 to line your effing pockets. You greedy bastards.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Oh, that's right. You're back, ladies and gentlemen. Tuesday Rant with yours truly, Crusty Canuck, episode 257. This beautiful, beautiful 23rd of January, 2024. The EMA deemed unconstitutional by the federal courts. Tax on tax, GST and carbon tax, and pay raises. I just went over the pay raises. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for being a little overheated, but I'm sick and tired of people telling me what to fucking do when they're making the big bucks at my and yours expense. Okay? Honestly, we can do better than this. So all the more reasons to butter up for another federal election. They got the money. They can afford it. Why not? Hey? Come April 1st, Somehow they think they're entitled to this. And like I said, I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're NDP, if you're a backbencher. If you bring water to Mr. Speaker all the time, I don't give a royal rat's ass. You don't bloody deserve it. Okay? As the report that I displayed for you, submitted for your approval, ladies and gentlemen. Right? We're in it. We're $1 trillion in debt. And they still want to scrape the barrel, to take their liking and to take what they want. At what expense? At what expense, ladies and gentlemen? Right? Progress? It doesn't matter what the opposition's saying. Doesn't matter what the liberals are saying. Doesn't matter what the NDP are saying. They're all getting a piece of the pie that we all baked. That's how it is. Right? So they're taking these pay raises, increases, yet our military suffers. Right? There's the liberal projection out there talking about the boil water advisors and the AAA credit rating, which is right in the liberal playbook. That doesn't mean shit. Okay? That doesn't mean crap. So if any of these diehard, blowhard liberal wannabes out here are watching this podcast, pull your head out of your ass and pay attention. Here's your first lesson. You're not entitled to anything. They're not entitled to your money. They're not entitled to my money. I'm not entitled to anything. I'm only entitled to what I work for. What's their excuse? You're only entitled to what you work for. What's your excuse? It's that simple. Anyway, carrying on with the Tuesday rant here for this beautiful 23rd January 2024. I'm not going to carry on about the tax. I still don't have the video, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. Anyway, Mr. Franco Tetrazzino basically said, and he explained to us, us non-economic folk. I don't have a degree in economics, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, when you look at your heating bill, you've got your carbon tax, okay? You've got your carbon tax, and then you got additional GST added on to that too. So can you really, really say all these additional taxes are here to save the trees and save the rivers and stop all these wildfires? Not fucking entirely, right? Since when does money that you pay forward going to help the environment, right? We've seen the cold snaps we've had the past couple of weeks here, okay? How'd those electric cars do in Chicago? How'd those electric cars do in Calgary? Right? How do those batteries fare? Okay. The videos and the articles are out there, ladies and gentlemen, right? So you can stomp your feet all you want and say magical words like, I'm not going to talk to anybody who does not believe in climate change, or I'm not going to talk to anybody who does not see the efficiency in EV technology. I see the efficiency in EV technology when you can build a battery that can withstand minus 50 Celsius. I would say, okay, I was wrong. If we see that, I would also be happy to understand the technology when there's actual innovation put into creating something that's going to benefit us, not just benefit a handful of lobbyists and make some politicians rich. The carbon tax is a fucking scam, period. We know this. How else do we have to prove it? I just explained to you that they put GST on said tax too. People say, well, you can't pay taxes twice. Yes, you do. We pay taxes every day. Every time I go get a pack of darts, every time I go get gasoline, every time I buy groceries, there's a tax on that because of inflation. Inflation is a tax, ladies and gentlemen. Inflation created by the federal government because they wanted to keep printing the money and giving it out. They want to keep printing the money and giving it away. They want to keep printing and printing and spending when there's no productivity coming to this country. They brag about these investments they have made in Windsor, Ontario by buying that battery plant. They had to buy the investment. It cost them $15 billion to do it. And they've also outsourced roughly 800 to 900 personnel from South Korea to get the place going. Right? So how can you sit there and say we're investing in Canada when you're spending taxpayer dollars to bring business here? When it should be the way around. Private interest comes in and brings dollars here. Here, you let us set up over here. We can dig and build and create this. Meanwhile, while we're doing that, we can give 1,200 jobs, 1,300 jobs to this area. A steady flow of income, steady flow of investment, right? not buy the investment and cross your fingers and promise of a kiss and a reach around. No. It's a goddamn matter of letting free enterprise reign. But they don't want to do that, do they? No, because they want to protect the trees, right? No trees are going to get harmed. Oh, we're going to protect the water, right? No water's getting harmed. When it talks about water, maybe you Fed should do a better job looking at the First Nations water issue, right? Talk to the chiefs, talk to leadership there. What's the problem? Let's fix it. Let's get it done now, not later, not as a talkie point for the next federal election campaign. Get it done now because it's been a problem for longer than you can imagine. And you're letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. Sort it out. Right? So what are you trying to protect? You're not trying to protect the environment because since when is it Canada's responsibility to save the world for your goddamn virtue? Well, I could go on about this for forever, ladies and gentlemen, all day if need be, all night if need be, but we don't need to because we know it's a goddamn con, right? So the more and more we hear about pay raises, the more and more we hear about taxes, the more and more we hear about these issues when it comes to our constitutional rights, I think a fight's coming, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not talking in the streets, okay? I'm not talking to those individuals or talking about those individuals on Twitter X. They're saying, oh, the freedom convoy. I'm talking to people that are getting fed up. I'm talking about taxpayers that are sick and tired of giving away everything they've worked for. So a handful of politicians can line their pockets and give away to somebody else in the name of saving the world. Where's Carol Channing when you need her, right? Oh, yeah, that's right. She's dead.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Anyhow, carrying on with the Tuesday Rant, ladies and gentlemen, episode 257 with your host, yours truly, Crusty Canuck. Oh, I'm just getting too emotional here, which is good. Means I'm pissed. Means I love my country. Means I'm angry. So be it, and so should you. You know, you don't have to be, but look at what I presented to you today. You know, one more time, ladies, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content on all your social media platforms. And once you see this on the tube, please give me a thumbs up. Comment, thumbs up, comment, all that good stuff. Help the algorithm going. Let people see Canadian content. You don't have to like my show. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying, but hey, give me a comment anyway, too. All my contact information will be in my description, ladies and gentlemen. I have a mailing address there, too, so if you want to mail me some swagger, feel free to do so. I don't mind. If you want to donate, just follow my links in the description. Donate at your leisure. I would like to make some money at this. I've been at it for about a good 5.5 years now. So if you want to donate, please donate. All the better, too, you know, because I might do an OnlyFans page. No, I don't think so. Anyhow, sorry. But like I say, if you like and hear to see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content all over your social media platforms and give a Canuck like myself a fair chance, like everybody else out there, to get his words of wisdom and grandeur out there just to keep freedom alive, basically, ladies and gentlemen. You know, but like I said, you know, this has been, you know, another episode of the Tuesday Rant. I will be around again this Saturday. I do have a funeral to attend to. We lost a comrade there a couple of weeks back. I don't know exactly what happened per se, but I was told that he was not in the best of health, and I think it might have been a heart attack. I'm not exactly sure. Needless to say, I'll be attending a funeral this Saturday, but I will have another episode of the podcast up early Saturday evening. So please stay tuned for that, and stay tuned every Tuesday for updates on this page and other pages too, for when a new episode comes your way, ladies and gentlemen. But like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, do what you can in these trying times. It's still cold outside in some spots, so bundle up, keep your cars plugged in, regardless of what the grid Nazis say or not. Use common sense, be neighborly, do what you can to help each other out. And like I always say, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you this Saturday. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.